Is the volume on the computer?
Yes.
Okay. And Victoria, you can hear us, right? Can you say some things so we can hear you?
Yes, I just have my cell phone mute.
All right, great. All right, let's get going. So, how do you want to?
Does Marple come in?
Yeah, he's trying to find parking.
Okay.
Want to do the 1,000-foot view and then pick, whatever the section is you guys didn't do last week?
Sure. Like just go through like the
Yeah,
whole thing.
they go through the whole thing, the brief summary. Just keep drilling that, and then just pick whatever section you guys didn't go through, and have them really you be the seller, and then have them act it out.
Okay.
What section did you guys do last week?
Pricing. We did pricing.
Okay. Terry, do you want to start 1,000-foot view, and then we'll pick one of the sections and have you do it
Okay.
with Link being the seller.
Okay. Are you playing an old man this time?
I've been maybe playing a younger female.
Okay. Keep it interesting. All right. So you get to the door, start building rapport at that point, ask for a tour of the house, continue rapport, show expertise, and then talk about the two options, pros and cons of each, and then show comps, and then go into marketing, and then if you have to get there, then level with them conversation. Unless they're already just ready to sign up right then.
So marketing. So what else though?
Of the coming soon. Go about the coming soon after comps and talk about pricing and the importance of that.
Right. Yeah. So the education on the pricing, the importance of that. Yeah. And then the coming soon, like you just said now, and then the marketing.
Yep.
Piece of it. Yep. Okay. What section would you want to go towards the end and do?
Well, how entertaining do you want today's session to be?
Oh yeah.
Because we could do rapport.
Let me interject for one sec before we do that. So I went on a meeting last week with Victoria. What happened to Where's Victoria?
I don't know. I don't know. They kicked us out or something. I think.
Victoria, she basically said this was like a listing, and she said that she thought that she was trying to just get through the whole script basically every meeting, and I guess found that was awkward, and she was in that meeting you hit on some of the points but you didn't say the whole script. And I was you have to use a little bit of judgment on what you think, but I don't know if you want to address that with her. She seemed that was concerning to her. She
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Indicated that she thought maybe other people thought that too.
Okay. Can you still hear us, Victoria?
Yes, I don't know what happened, it just ended it.
Okay.
Victoria, so I was telling John, after we had the meeting with Mammy last week, what you were telling me about how, the way you were thinking about the script, going through it from start to finish, how that was sometimes maybe not effective for you. Maybe can you just kind of describe quickly what you told me about that?
Basically that I think the way that we go through it now, because just go through the sections of it, it's not really reflective of real conversation with people. So I think it gets kind of hard, when people are in a conversation with me, break it up into smaller bits when they ask questions, and then sort of it feels weird when they're just ask a simple question and I go into this 10-minute rant about pricing.
Yeah, and that's where, that's the sort of thing that unfortunately just only experience can really teach you how to handle that. because we're not going to know exactly what the person is what the questions or scenarios are exactly. I mean, the way you should be thinking about the script is that it's like a modular thing, where like you've got all the shit that you say about pricing, you've got all the stuff you say about marketing, you have all the stuff you say about coming soon, and within that, there's like within each of those sections, you even have little subsections. And so like you just need to, like, based on what they say, which little section of the script applies, and just give them that in just a conversational way.
That's what I was thinking, like hoping that maybe we could practice was more of like one of you two being the seller and asking questions and not launching into the whole thing, but keeping it more of like conversational while still being educational.
Okay.
So like what the thing that that I was telling her after that meeting was that the script is designed to kind of give you talking points around kind of all the major things that could come up, or some of our major selling points, so that when, depending on which way the conversation goes, you have some tools, like a script that where you can pull out a part of it and use it effectively. Like John said, kind of figuring out when to use what and where is more experience driven. But like in that meeting that we had, Victoria, I can't even remember what I talked about with her, but I used like bits and pieces from the script, almost like verbatim from the script. I just didn't go through it like start to finish, and I didn't hit on everything. I just hit on what I thought was going to be effective with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other thing that I would add is like, and it's probably not really and this may not be intuitive, or maybe you feel differently about it, but like the reality is that most likely it's just how well you know the script too. Like if you've truly internalized everything, right? You've drilled it into yourself like 1,000 times, where you like can run through it forwards, backwards, and sideways. Then when someone asks you about like some aspect of the coming soon or whatever, like without even thinking about it, you'll know which element of the scripting relates to the coming soon, and you'll just be able to talk about it in your own words because you know the concept so well. So you just have to continue to drill the script, and that's why we are doing it in chunks, so that like people know it like the back of their hand. Because we'll like role play, we can definitely role play, but like it's inherently artificial, and there's like so much we can do there. So it's also just making sure you know the script better.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like if you just know it, like you can say it in your sleep, then you don't have to think about it when you're in the meeting. Then you just can focus on listening to the seller, and your mind, because you know it so well, will automatically make connections. You hear something like, oh, that's, that reminds me of this in the script, and you can just you just go there naturally. You don't have to like think so much about it. So that's 100% true. I agree with that. Like knowing it backwards and forwards is probably the most important thing. All right.
Do you want to? Do you remember enough about the Mamie meeting to like, do a role play with Victoria or?
Yeah. So like, let me think for a second.
Maybe Victoria remembers it.
We talked a lot more about race relations in the U.S.
About what? Race relations?
Race relations in the U.S.
Okay, well that's good.
We talked about.
We haven't
that.
scripted that out, but it's definitely good.
That was good. Yeah. So for her, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I remember now. I remember.
Do you want to try to do a role play with Victoria or whatever, and
Yeah,
kind of like throw her off?
Yeah, I'm gonna. That was a good meeting because this was a meeting that was premised on cash. I went out and saw the house in Waldorf in the first meeting, took pictures of it's vacant. She like didn't want. She was like meeting with other people. Like what? So I'm not signing anything. You can see it. Like let me know. I just set up a second appointment, and I went to her primary residence in DC, and now we're gonna do a listing. So that was a good example of somebody who was like pretty difficult, not giving up a lot of information at first, but then kind of like softened up, and then was amenable to like changing directions and going the listing route.
Yeah.
So That's where you really have to kind of soft pedal the listing even more, because it's like she was only interested in cash. Like even in the second meeting, she was still wanting to talk about cash and kind of
Right.
kind of soft pedal into that. So we can, I think we can role play that, Victoria, if you want to do that.
Sure.
So, how do you want to start? Do it so like we get there, we start, like we just basically went in and sat down. She was like, what do you have for me?
I guess why don't we just like we'll start it with there, whatever.
Yeah.
You be the seller, and Victoria, you're us, right? And then picking it up from what Kevin just said. Okay, what do you got?
Oh, that's the question.
Yeah.
So we went over.
No, just like we're saying, like let's imagine this scenario and have you role play being the agent,
Okay.
like what you would do in this situation. So why don't you start back again with what
Right.
you said, and then
So
before you go.
you weren't at the first meeting, but she didn't walk around the house with me in Waldorf. I walked around by myself, took pictures of it. We probably only talked for 10 minutes total. And so I had a little bit of rapport with her, but not a whole lot. And I knew she was meeting with other people, so I didn't give her an offer. And I just scheduled a second appointment on the spot. So that was the scenario that we were walking into. We went in, we sat down, and she was basically like, "So what do you have for me?" So let's start there. So I'm her. I'm saying, thanks for coming by. What do you got for me?
So we went over some of the numbers. I would also bring up comps.
No, like to do it like it's an actual meeting.
Yeah.
Like we're role playing.
That's what I would tell her. I would start saying that we went over numbers.
Yeah, but don't say what you would tell her though. Just say it as if you're telling it to her, like you're actually in the meeting.
Like pretend like I'm
Like
her.
Kevin's Mamie.
Kevin's Mamie.
Okay, I was doing that except for when I said I would bring up comps because I don't know how to virtually bring up comps.
Okay.
So I would say that we went over the numbers, and these are some houses that are in your area and what they sort of sold for. As you can see in the area, there's not really anything that has sold for over, I think it's 360, even fully renovated. Which means
Well, she at that point in the meeting though. Remember, she had not. You don't know what we didn't know what she wanted.
yeah, but you still told her what things didn't, like what the top price was in the area.
Yeah, but we didn't. I didn't know. She hadn't told us like the 360 thing yet. Like, remember, I was like fishing for a while on trying to get a number out of her before we like. So I did pull up comps, and I was like, I was looking over the comps, right, and then I kept asking her what she wanted, and then only after she told me the amount did I start into like what you're doing. You know what I mean?
So let's. So I was gonna we could just forget about Mamie entirely, and let's just do a role play, and Kevin will be a seller like Mamie but different, and you're gonna be, the agent obviously. And so let's just role play that. So let's imagine that. So let's go to the door, and then Kevin's just gonna be difficult, have her just.
Yeah, it's the first meeting.
Yeah. First meeting, you're going to the door, you don't know what to expect, and Kevin's just gonna be a seller, okay? And let's just see how you react to it, and just give you feedback on it.
Okay,
So say ring or knock the door, whatever.
knocking on the door.
Hi, come in.
Hey, I'm Victoria. I'm here from Four Brothers Buy Houses. How was your day today?
Good. What do you want to do? How does this work?
Well, first you can just show me around your house.
What's your name?
The cool, interesting stuff about it. Any issues that you know with it. You can just take a little tour. So why don't you bring me around now? Is it alright if I continue to some?
Why do you need to take pictures?
Mostly could they go into your file? Everyone sort of has a file, and we keep them in there so we can check back in on them. And if there's any sort of issues with the house, or they can't quite figure out a price today, I can bring them back to our construction manager, and he can help me figure out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be on file, but we can walk through the house together.
Okay.
All right. So let's say it's just a small house, it's only 2 bedroom, one floor, 2 bedroom, you know, just, you can walk around, you can just poke your head in the bedrooms and then come sit down with me.
Okay. Are you sure you don't want to show me around? I find it really helpful if.
There's not much, just look in the 2 bedrooms, you'll see the bathroom and then the kitchen, and I'll be waiting here, so just run through it and come sit down and tell me what your offer is.
Okay. I would probably walk through the house at my own at that point and just sort of let him simmer or whatever for a minute. I'm not sure that I would be able to convince him to actually walk me through.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So let's imagine that you did the walkthrough.
Okay. So walk through, come back. Now I'm sitting down with you. So I see that. What condition is the house in?
It's like fine, whatever, like average, grandma, whatever.
Okay. Do you know, like when anything has been updated in your house, the bathrooms or the kitchen, anything like that?
Yeah, I've been living here for 35 years.
Have you updated it since you've lived here?
Different thing. I mean, I did part of the kid. What is the question?
If you have, done new countertops or new tile in the bathroom, anything like that.
I mean, you can see like the bathroom has original tile in it. You probably saw that. The kitchen is what it is, but so you've seen the condition. But I'm trying to figure out. My question is, what is your offer for the house?
Oh, I totally get that. I just need to get like a little bit more information from you about sort of bigger stuff in the house. Have you done any work to your roof or your windows?
The roof was replaced, I don't know, quite a while, 15 years ago, maybe 13 years ago.
Okay. And what about your hot water and HVAC systems?
About the same time.
Okay.
I don't remember. The hot water tank is actually new, I think.
Okay. Is it in the base? Like, did I see it when I walked around the house?
The hot water tank?
Yeah. Like, I'm asking because I don't know.
It's in the closet.
Where it is.
Yeah, it's in the closet.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that was kind of new. Did you have some sort of issue with it recently?
No,
How come you replaced it?
because the other one was old.
Okay. So I see, this is kind of a little bit of a hard one to price out, so I want to just get as much information from you as possible. But how much are you looking to get for the house?
I just want an offer, and then I'll tell you whether or not that's something that is going to work for me or not.
Okay. I probably can't give you one right this second with just the limited information I have now. I can, if you let me take the pictures, I can bring it back to Floyd, and he can really super helpful on
Who's Floyd?
how much money we're gonna need to put into it.
What? Who's Floyd?
Floyd is our construction manager, so he designs and basically renovates the whole house for us. So he has a better handle on how much we would spend.
Well, just give me a ballpark. That's fine, but give me a ballpark because I was told on the phone by someone named Anderson that I would get an offer when you came out after you saw the house. You would look at it and then make me an offer. So are you you aren't making me an offer now while you're here?
I can definitely give you a range.
All right, give me a range. What's the range?
Well, that's part of what goes into it is that we want to make sure that we're covering.
Well, what's
some
the range? You
bases.
said you'd give me a range. Just give me the range.
Okay, it's probably between 100 and 200,000 would be our offer. That's kind of a big range right now, just because I have limited information. And
What other information do you need?
Well, I would like to be able to take some pictures to bring them back. That would be really helpful. And sort of like what you owe, what you want to get from it. Kind of look at comparables together in the neighborhood to give you sort of an idea of what it is worth. I would probably try and bring up comparables now.
All right, so I would say for I was being difficult, but it's not that. people are like that all the time. So like you've got to do a better job of like disarming somebody who's in that situation. There's like different ways to do that, but getting more, like you do that, you have the right idea, like you want to get them talking more, asking them questions, but like asking questions about like the hot water tank and stuff like that is only going to get you so far. So you want to try and get him to open up more broadly about why he's selling and what's going on. So it's like, hey, I just got here, I just saw the house, I looked at comps beforehand, but now that I've seen it, I need a couple minutes to look back again. But let me ask you a couple of questions. When did you want to sell? Like if it was up to you and you could close on your, what the ideal date, when would you want to do that? And just try and get him to open up about what his motivations are, instead of focusing so much on like age of the roof or that kind. I mean, you can ask those questions, but you want to really get him. Those are not going to be questions that are really drive like a conversation about his motivation and what he actually is trying to do. So like try and break him down more and be like, I got it, and I'm gonna get you an offer. Don't worry about that. But I just saw the house, and I'm gonna look back at my comps and my notes. But I do have some questions for you that are going to be helpful in my putting the offer together. When would you want to close if we could, came to an agreement on price? And that's a legitimate question. I mean, nobody's going to, and then it'd be like, okay, where are you going to go? Okay, do you think you might need help moving? What are you going to do with all this stuff? Blah, 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 and try and get them talking. You know what I mean? Kind of get off the house with somebody like that. Get them talking about what they're going to actually do.
Yeah, definitely. Do you typically ask those questions now, Victoria, about the motivation and the timeline and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I normally ask that when we're walking through the house, and if not, then in that conversation.
Okay. Yeah, because you were just kind of going just over the house and back on the house details and stuff like that, So you had the right idea, like you said, to open them up, but just get more into start talking about this motivation, where he's going to move to, why he's moving there, what he's going to do when he gets there. You know what I mean? All those kind of questions. Maybe it's something that like he likes talking about, so it'll kind of like make the conversation go a little better as well. And then the other thing too is getting comfortable with the idea, like, we can't make an offer till we see the inside of the house. I just saw the inside of the house like a second ago, so I need so give me a minute.
Yeah.
Let me look at the comps now again, now that I've seen the house. And then like a couple minutes, then I'll be able to let you know what our offer is going to be. So just kind of that scripting, as opposed to I just need some more information from you to make the offer. Because then it kind of, if the person's combative like he was, it'd be like, well, what do you need to know? But you can so I think that whole idea of, right, like we have to see the house to make an offer. We saw it, so now I needed a minute or two to look back at the comps again that I already looked at before. Now that I've seen your house, and then I'll be able to tell you what the offer is.
So like the timing, like when do they want to close is helpful. A helpful question in that kind of along the lines of what John's saying, because it's like you can very easily say, we do so many projects a month, so like staggering and timing of the projects is critical. When would you want to close? Ideally, that's going to be helpful to me figuring out what the offer would be, and then. And then you can see what they say. Oh, where are you going? And then try and open them up again. But try and avoid like harping on if somebody like didn't want to do something, like says no to the pictures or doesn't want to walk through the house with you. Just let it go. Let it go, and then you can come back to it again later after you've built rapport. But you gotta, don't like keep harping on it, because like they're not going to change their mind immediately. You're not gonna it's hard to convince people if they don't want to do it right then, just like convince them to do it. You gotta kind of like build some rapport and then circle back to it and be like, so, listen, is it okay if I take pictures? I mean, we like got to know you, like you see what I'm trying to do here, So, just be kind of mindful of that, I guess, as well.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to do another one real quick, Victoria? Given that, like, kind of similar situation, like he'll like just again like knock on the door, and then he'll be a difficult seller, maybe a little bit different type of difficult seller. You know what I mean? And then just let's kind of like just role play it back again real quick.
Sure.
I have a quick comment. If they're like refusing to go through the house, would it be like a strategy to just like yell when you're like in the bedroom, like, is this like an electrical outlet or something, and then try and get them to like come in and join you?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Like, if they don't want to walk through the house with you, it's fine. Like, that's not the end of the world. Like, it's better if they do, but I wouldn't like go to great lengths. So you can, after you walk through, you can be like, I saw that, that you had the Buddha statue, like, that's beautiful. Whatever it is. Like, I wouldn't, don't press them unless you need to. Like, pressing them on things that are actually, really important is what you want to do. Don't waste that on like dumb shit. All right.
So whenever you're ready, same kind of deal. Just say knock knock or ring ring or whatever, and then he'll be a difficult seller again, like a different kind of difficult, and then just kind of like see if you can get him to kind of open up.
Okay. Knock knock.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Victoria. I'm here from Four Brothers Buy Houses. Over to look at your house and give you an offer.
Oh, okay. I forgot you were coming. Okay.
That's all right. It's pretty quick. I can just walk through the house with you. You can point out some stuff. If you have any issues, if there's really like about the house, and then sit down.
Okay. I thought that Andrew was coming. Is Andrew here?
Andrew's not coming. He is more of an office body. He doesn't really like the outdoors, so he stays.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can come in. All right. What do you want to do?
If you want, you can just walk me through the house. That'd be super great. And if it's all right, I'll just take a few pictures, just to, keep in my mind.
Okay. All right. So here's the kitchen, and this is the dining room and the den, and then there's 3 bedrooms upstairs, and you can go up there if you want.
Okay. I'll just head up there, and then I'll come back down, and we can chat.
Okay. And I want to remind you that this house is very close to the schools, all the schools in the neighborhood. Do you know this neighborhood?
I do a little bit. I've driven through a few times, but what schools are nearby?
All of the schools, the high school, the middle school, people love the neighborhood. It's a really nice neighborhood. You can see that.
Okay. Did you have kids go through the school system here?
No, but the houses here sell like hotcakes.
Okay. Well, we can definitely, look at some numbers later on and see, what your neighbors are selling their houses for.
So you buy houses for cash?
Yeah, we do. And then it's pretty cool. We come in and we sort of renovate the whole thing. So you basically, whoever buys it gets a brand new house, besides basically the framing. So it's pretty cool to watch. You can see it in stages.
Well, my house is already pretty nice.
It definitely is. People are sort of weird now with like the styles that they like. They like a lot of white. The whole kitchen's white. I don't know how they feel with it. I feel like they would just make everything look dirty. But white's very popular now, and then gray walls everywhere. Outside the house, inside the house, everywhere.
Okay. What do you need to know?
Sorry?
What do you need to know?
Well, I'm just gonna go upstairs and look at the bedrooms, and I'll be right back down.
All right.
So you have a whole room of taxidermy deer heads. Do you like to hunt?
No.
How come you have all the deer heads?
My husband, my late husband,
Does he like to hunt?
he's dead.
Okay. I'm really sorry to hear that, but
Okay.
obviously he was very good at it. I have a few friends who hunt, and they're definitely not that good. Okay, so we can sit down and sort of look at some houses in the neighborhood and see what they're selling for, and we can go to those schools too if you want.
You know, I know a
Never
lot
bought a
about.
house.
I've done some bought and sold real estate, so I know a lot about real estate. So just so you know, I'm not going to be accepting any low offers because I already know a lot about it.
We definitely don't give low offers anyways, but why don't you walk me through
No,
sort of what
you called me. I'm just telling you, I already know a lot about what this house is worth, just so you know.
Okay. So we're looking at comps. How come you want to sell?
Because my husband's dead, and I'm going to somewhere so with one level.
Okay, gotcha. Are you trying to stay in this area or move somewhere warmer or cooler?
No, I'm leaving.
Where do you think you're gonna be going?
I haven't decided yet.
You know, I know Florida is for some reason very popular.
I ain't going there. I'm not going to Florida.
No Florida. I know you said you were interested in a ranch house. How come you want a ranch style house instead of the two-story that you're used to?
Because I can't walk up the stairs.
Well, you look very, very young and healthy to me.
Okay.
I know you said you know a lot about real estate. It seems like in the area houses are selling for $450 and maybe $550. You think that's about right? Point.
No.
Okay. What do you think? That you
Well,
think?
there's houses sold down the street. There's one that sold for $850. So, I'm not
Okay.
sure. Do you know this neighborhood?
Okay. Well, I have. We'll look that one up. Okay, so I can see why it's sold for $850 here. It has about 3 times as much square footage. So that makes a big difference in the price.
All right,
Let's
so,
talk more about houses that are similar
Time out.
here.
All right, so like with somebody like that, that I think is a pretty realistic. Like I've dealt with like 1,000 people like that. Part of it is like instead of like pushing through on the house piece, and I know you're like kind of trying to talk about like taxidermy and stuff, but like with somebody like that, you're not gonna be able to just like push through on like what do you want, like all that, get through the meeting just on what's up with the house. Like you're gonna have to figure out a way to build rapport, and it's probably gonna involve talking about yourself at first to like get them to loosen up. Like I wasn't like giving you I didn't tell you where I wanted to move and all that. Like so like you've got to set somebody like that. You're gonna have to kind of open them up yourself, build rapport by kind of telling them things about you and trying to get them to finally kind of open up and talk. And then there's almost no point in going through comps or getting into any conversation about the house until you've broken through that kind of where they're just like not giving you any information. You have to kind of break through before you can have any meaningful conversation about the house. So like in a situation like that, I would just like do the thing where I say like tell stories and say stupid things over and over and over again until they finally just started like laughing, and then we like get them to talk and then talk about the house. Otherwise, I think it's almost impossible to get them to agree or tell you anything unless you've developed some rapport with somebody like that who's just kind of like standoffish. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that, Victoria. Yeah, I think that's a good just general rule of thumb for everybody. Is like until you feel like you've broken through and like you sort of are having good conversations with them and they're opening up to you, don't even bother going through the rest of it. I think that's like one thing maybe that you were thinking about in your meetings, like feeling like you're sort of going through the whole script sometimes and like it's not necessarily like calibrated to them. So like if you don't have that rapport, trust, and a good conversation, don't even bother with the rest of it and just stay in that rapport building phase and just keep asking questions, telling, like Kevin says, telling stuff about yourself. Like, like in that scenario he gave you, right? Like she said, oh, I bought and sold real estate. Oh, what'd you do? When'd you do that? How was that? What got you into that? Did you like that? Would you do it again? Right, like any little nugget like that, like really use that opportunity to expand and have the conversation. Once the conversation's had, and it's like and trust and all that stuff, and you'll feel it, then have the rest of the conversation. I think it's just a good like rule of thumb, just to implement it, kind of right away.
So like, why do people say that all the time? Like I've owned properties or I've bought and sold houses. People say that constantly because they're trying to be like, don't take advantage of me. I know what's going on. I know the score, right? So like what John said, or even just be like, oh, that's great, and compliment them. Be like, so you bought and sold 2 houses. Wow, that's so. You know the deal, right? You're a seasoned professional. And they're like, yeah. They're like, so that's good. So then this is going to make this conversation easier because you already have so much experience. So like just placate whatever their concern is. They don't want to be taken advantage of. And tell them, yeah, you're knowledgeable as hell. No way. And then ask them questions, and like you were doing it, like in a lot, you're gonna have to like keep kind of pushing through, like just because I say I don't like to hunt or whatever, don't give up, right? Like maybe say something about yourself, be like, oh, like my uncle hunts, he was in Botswana recently for a safari, and the guide actually the tour guide was trampled by an elephant, which was. I couldn't believe it, right? So he rode a hyena back to the camp and then was able to get back, whatever you got to do, right? Like tell them a story, you can show them a picture of your pets, anything, doesn't matter, right? Like I should be like, hey, oh man, it was a long morning. My son was a real pain in the butt this morning. Oh, let me show you a picture of him, or like my dog crapped on the floor. Look at her, anything to kind of like get their mind off, like just to loosen them up, because a lot of people are going to be kind of uptight like that at the beginning.
What do you think about that, Victoria?
Makes sense.
Good. Okay, yeah. So this is it's good. We can probably keep doing the role plays like this is probably good. What other kind of scenarios?
I have a question. Victoria, I got a question for you. It's Tara. Hey, have you taken the John Martinez training?
No, I have no idea what that is.
That'd be really good for her.
Mm-hmm. It's in the Realtor Resources, isn't it, Andrew?
Realtor Resources,
should be.
yeah.
I'll make sure.
John Martinez training.
It is. Yeah.
It's really good. I've gone through it 2 times now. It's been really helpful for me as far as like a well-roundedness, especially questions to ask, rapport building, and kind of how to get that out of them in a very positive way. So I would just recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Yeah. Okay.
But one more thing. So, like Victoria, like your tendency is, I think, similar to both mine and John's, where you're sort of like, let's like cut the crap. Like just tell me what you want. Like tell me what's going on. Like I can just sort of tell you what the deal is, what our offer is, and then we can try and figure out if it's going to work or not, right? And that would be like easy. It's just unfortunate that almost no meetings are going to be that streamlined, and that's just kind of the unfortunate reality of why you have to talk about like your uncle who rides ostriches or whatever, but yeah, I mean I certainly empathize, with what you're trying to do and why you want to do it.
Maybe we should have someone else do the same scenario, right? Like you'd be so similar kind of seller, but just a different version of it. So either Marco or Tara. And again, for the focus on opening up.
Can we be the tough person so we can see how somebody else would handle it?
Sure. Okay, do you want to be the tough person?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you want to pick it up at the door knocking?
Sure.
Jenny's gonna really put you through the ringer.
I can see that.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, I'm Kevin. How are you?
Oh, did we have an appointment
Yes,
today?
we did. Did you not? Did Andrew call you this morning?
I think I got some sort of, I don't know.
Did you talk to Andrew today?
No, it wasn't Andrew. Somebody called so they could give me an offer on the spot.
Okay. But this is it okay? Can I come in? Is it still a good time?
1 second, let me check my calendar. Oh my gosh, I've got 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. Thank you. I'm sorry this was catching you off guard, but I appreciate you being flexible. I am sweating profusely. What should
Well,
we do?
You could come in.
Okay, thank you.
Kinda nice
All right. Can we walk through together quickly? Normally we'll just do a quick walkthrough with me and you. You point anything out you want, I just kind of put eyes on the house. Can we do that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so we're walking through the house, right? And whatever.
Don't step on the cat.
Oh, that's a lovely cat. What's the cat's name?
Ferocious.
That's hilarious.
We gotta
So
hurry. I mean, I'm watching the clock here, and
I'm going to
we've
set a
got, like,
timer on my
12 minutes.
phone, and that way, for 12 minutes, and that way when that goes off, we'll know, it'll be like an egg timer. We'll know that's when I turn into a pumpkin, okay?
Okay. All right. We don't want that to happen.
Exactly. All right, this is a beautiful, house. How long have you been here?
Thank you. 13 years.
Okay, so why are you selling it?
It's just time to sell it.
It's just time. So what do you mean? Are you moving?
I'm thinking about moving.
Oh,
But
so you're on the
but I might
fence.
not.
You're thinking about it. You're just kind of exploring different options. I take it.
Yeah, exploring different options right now.
Okay.
Haven't
So-
made any decisions.
Have you met with any other crack investors like me?
There have been 2 others that have come through the house.
You didn't meet with Phil Edwards, did you?
No, I haven't. Should I call him?
Oof. You could. He's just a character. Anyway. So, what did the other investors think? Did they make an offer to you?
Yeah, I got offers.
Oh, great. So did you like? Were they good? Are you thinking about taking those? Or why are you still meeting
I don't know
with
yet. I'm
people?
still thinking about it.
Okay. So
Now that you've been through the house, what's your offer?
So, well, I've just seen everything. I did some research before I came. I looked at comps around the neighborhood, and now that I've seen it, which is extremely helpful, I'm going to look back at my notes and I'll be able to make you an offer, on the house. But it's kind of important for me to understand the timing on your end, right? So, like my offer, kind of depends on what your thoughts are in terms of when you would want to sell, right? So if I make you an offer today, but you're not selling for 3 months, then it's kind of, then I'm going to have to make another offer when you actually sell. So tell me what if we came to an agreement, when would you want to move? Give me a sense of the timing.
Well, if that were the case, I'd need 60 days.
So you would move like 60 days on the dot? Is that what you need 2 months to pack up? Or?
2 months. Mhm.
Okay, from today.
From today.
Okay, so
Next week at the latest.
Okay, so let's see, August 21st, so you're saying October 21st you would be comfortable closing on the 21st.
Yes.
And that's where you hand over the keys, title transfers, that would be good for you.
Yeah.
Do you know where you would go?
I haven't decided yet. I have a few options. I
Okay.
could either stay local or I could go somewhere else. I have a vacation home.
Oh, so worst case scenario, you go to like your other home. So you do have like different options for like a intermediate, like kind of in between step. Okay. And so you have a ton of beautiful furniture in here.
Yes, I do.
I love antiques.
Mhm.
And so how will you deal
That
with all
piano is the
that?
price of Steinway.
It's a Steinway? Wow. Can I take a picture of that? Show my wife. She's a Steinway fanatic.
You took pictures of everything.
I didn't get a picture of the piano.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna send it to my wife.
It makes you happy.
She loves to tickle the ivories.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean? Now, what is, what will you do with all of these? Have you ever moved a piano? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The levies,
I
the
have
pulleys
somebody
and the
who will help
levies that they use for that are like, it's unbelievable. Sometimes it can take up to 6 people to move a piano.
Mhm.
So how will you do that? Where will you put the piano?
I would either sell it or give it to my son-in-law.
You're gonna give it to your son-in-law?
Maybe.
How much are you thinking about selling it for? I'm gonna talk to my
Haven't
wife
put-
about that. Now, so what about the rest of your furniture? Like let's say you move into your second home, your vacation home, what are you gonna do with all this furniture?
I'd probably sell most of it.
Okay, like on Craigslist or something? How do you do that?
Eh,
You haven't thought about that?
Furniture broker.
Oh, your local furniture broker. Cool.
What's your offer?
Well, I just want to make sure I've got all the information. But I'm going to give you an offer.
Okay.
So, would you think about, well, have you met with any agents? Because part of what I'm trying to understand is, are you thinking about a cash offer? Because you have kind of 2 options, right? You're selling, you can sell to an investor like me or Phil, or you could work with an agent and you'll get a little bit more money on the market, takes more time, but you kind of. So why meet with an investor? Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I've got a third option too. I could rent it out.
So I think, do you
Let's go.
want to pause?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you kind of get the idea of it, right? So like, yeah. Well, so what did you guys notice about that? Victoria, Mark, and Tara. Yeah. What did you like and didn't like, or wonder why I did?
Well, what I liked was the type of questions that get somebody talking about something that means something to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really at the heart of building rapport.
Like the piano, for example.
Well, that's
The
one
furniture.
thing, but then just the kind way, about even at the door,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
that was throughout.
Yeah.
A kind, very disarming,
Yeah.
very personable demeanor.
Yeah.
That's something you can't force that,
Yeah. Yeah, even at the door, like she wasn't ready. Is it okay?
Right.
If I just come in, I'm sorry that we caught you off guard like that. Sort of
Yes.
showing empathy
Yep.
right up front, like all those little things.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Did
What
you
else?
talk to Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you talk to Andrew?
Yeah, you can ask questions like that, right? Like did you talk to Andrew, right? You can always ask that as just a basic question up front, right? And kind of talk more about like how they found out about us, right? So like, was it a call? Did someone call you and set this up, or did you get one of our mail pieces? Oh, what mail piece did you get? What made you call us? Right? Like that's a really easy thing up front that like also starts getting the motivation, builds rapport. Like there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
What else? What else did you guys notice about it?
It was just wasn't really any of the script. Like he wasn't really diving in too hard about the house. It was more just rapport building. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody
Yes,
stepped
Yeah.
in,
but-
have a conversation. Just looked like 2 friendly people having a conversation
Mhm.
as opposed to somebody selling.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Exactly right. But he was also able to draw from elements when it was appropriate to bring
Right.
them up,
Right.
and that's how a real meeting goes.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
fishing for cues about motivation.
Yeah.
Like when do you want to move? Where are you going? Why do you want to move? What will you do? It's all motivation. Trying to figure out what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah. And then questions about the logistics of the move are really easy ones as well, and also both rapport building and also get to motivation as well. Like, what are you gonna this beautiful furniture, you've got so much of it. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna take it all with you? You're going to this, or are you gonna sell it? And then even specifics, right, about like a piano or I had one guy that had a bunch of antique clocks on his wall. So I asked a ton of questions about that and the moving process and like how that all works and stuff like that. He was, of course, very interested in talking about that because he cares about it. So just looking for, so like move logistics is another good category of questions, Victoria, that you can ask as well. The other thing was, what other kind of questions did you notice that he was asking?
Well, because the person's difficult,
really going for the motivation and the timing. Because you can't really do anything else without that. You can't even give them an offer if, you know, they're 6 months down the road, or it just wouldn't be relevant. So, I'm trying to think of what else.
So like you use what they give you. Like you told me you met with 2 investors. People don't meet with 3 investors if they're like kind of maybe thinking about
Right.
stuff. Like there's
Right.
something there, right? So
Right.
they're like, and then you told me you had a second home. It's like, oh, what will you do with your stuff if you moved? If you go to the second home, what are you going to do with all your crap?
Right.
Like make them answer questions about what they've told you, because they've already told you things. So you know, press them. You know, like don't have to press them, but like make them sort of give you the rest of the story.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that shows that you can have a conversation even with the most difficult person.
Right. Right. I mean, you were intentionally being very difficult,
Yeah.
right? And still, by the time we did like the pause, you were almost opening up even in your role play a little bit. You know, like you could even see in your role play, your character was disarming a little bit, even when you were intentionally trying to be difficult
Yeah. Yeah.
and starting to get into a conversation.
Right.
And that's like your cue. Like obviously you keep going with that, but like you don't want to do any numbers, any comps, anything until you at least get to that point.
Right.
And like if they have a concern, it's like just like disarm it, like put it to bed. Like you have 12 minutes. Okay, I've set my alarm going off in 12 minutes. Let's go. Like then there's nothing else to say, right?
Right.
So like if you're like, okay, well hurry, they'll keep looking at me like, I've taken care of that for you. We have 12 minutes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, and then the goal would be to try to get at the very least get a second meeting.
Right.
Build
Sure.
enough rapport
Yes.
to get that second
Right.
meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. Victoria, what about you? Did you notice anything that you liked or didn't like? Wonder why you did it.
Basically, what they said, that he didn't really touch on any of the script stuff. Trying to go before and get answers before even talking about it.
Are you saying you like, don't like, or
No, that makes sense.
okay?
What kind of questions did you notice? Like, what questions did you like that he asked that maybe you could use, if any?
Well, just like talking about their shit. Lots of times I do, like in person when it's not role playing, because there's no stuff around for me to ask about. But like that one we went to on Kansas, where we talked about her antiques and like talked about her safe for a while. And she definitely really liked investing her safe. That was in the basement.
Yeah.
Yep. So talking about her stuff is like one good category of questions. Like, what other kinds of
Yeah.
questions did you notice that he was asking that were like sort of opening Tara up?
It's like when he first came to when he first came to the door, and she didn't remember he was coming, and they started walking through stuff. Typically the questions like about like hobby type stuff that was in there, like not even just like shit, but like things that are associated with a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Then that really gets them to talk about things that they like. And I feel like that is a big, like the piano.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, that was it's funny to watch during role, like you said, that she purposefully being difficult and not opening up.
Right. Right. You know, and it's joking around a little bit too, right? I mean, being a little
Yeah.
silly. You don't have to
Yeah.
be totally professional at all, and in fact, it's better if you're not. So
Yeah,
being just
it
that sort of
definitely
normal.
I feel like making them laugh the first time is like the biggest like icebreaker.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you can take some risks there, especially with a difficult seller. You know, say a little out there stuff. I mean, he certainly does. And
I mean, the worst that's going to happen is they're going to continue to be difficult.
Right.
So,
Yep.
yeah, you're not losing anything by it, and you might win. You know, something. The other category that I think is important to be aware of, make sure you're asking Victoria and like Markle and everybody is, which we just talked about a little bit, was the other investors and stuff too. Like, oh, like the whole like, oh, like have you met with a lot of people? Right? Like have you met with a lot of people?
Actually, the one that I just gave a cash offer to yesterday has had like 4 or 5 investors come by. So when I went to my second meeting yesterday, I asked her a lot about like what they were offering, like if she had any written offers, like if she needed any, if she was confused about anything in the offers that she like basically didn't understand or whatever, and told her about like what our offers look like, what they all had offered. She wouldn't really tell me what the ones offered, but she told me one offered her 240. And I kind of talked to her about like how I didn't understand how that was a reasonable offer for like an investor, and she like totally got it and was like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna go with him because I think it's just one of those things that's like too. Which before, when I went to the first meeting, she was like, yeah, I think we'll just take that one. And that was mostly because, hey, I think it is, we offered 165, so, and the house is only worth on the market about like, I'd be surprised if it even really got 240 on the market, so I don't want her basically getting screwed over by some random guy, but talking about those investors, I feel like you pointed out that nobody else asked her questions, they just like threw around numbers.
That's good. Yeah, then that's definitely good. And I mean, intro questions that can get into that conversation are around, oh, you've been meeting with a lot of people. Oh, like if, especially if they got a call from us or a letter, whatever the marketing medium was. Oh, if you've been getting a lot of calls about this house. Oh, if you got a lot of letters about this house. And so start to see like what's the level of activity and interest been in the house. And then that can lead into, oh, have you like met with any other investors? What about agents? Have you talked to agents as well, like about selling the house? So sort of get a lay of the land for how they're thinking and who they're meeting with and how many people they're thinking about meeting with, because that's like your competition, right? But it also kind of builds rapport, and it's another thing to talk about as well, another set of questions you can ask. That's not about the house. Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess we can keep. I thought that was good. I think we can keep doing role plays, and maybe maybe we'll update the script with the categories of questions like we talked about, right? Like it's about like the house in general, like water heater and windows and shit like that, about their items in the house, right? And how it relates to things they're interested in doing, about the like their sort of other people they've met with, their whole kind of like decision making process, kind of competition landscape, how they found out about us and their initial interaction and why they responded, where they're moving, like where they're going to and why, what their future perfect is, right? Like John Martinez, whatever would say. So yeah, there's like a bunch of categories, and I think if you can keep the categories in mind, then it'll also help you, when someone's being difficult, not just rely back on asking more questions about the house, because sometimes it's easy to do that. So if you keep the categories, then you can also kind of keep it fresh and keep poking around and hopefully get the hook that will like open them up a little bit. So. Okay. All right, thanks. Do you have time now, Mr. Trudy? Maybe we can do the categories real quick.
One thing I always use, it's been easy to keep